Welcome back to the One of One podcast. Back out here in Scottsdale, Arizona. I've had a lot of special guests up to this point in the podcast. People that have shaped me to where I am today. People whose journeys I inspired to be like one day. But today's episode is really, really special because I can say in front of the camera that without this individual, I literally wouldn't be where I am today, physically and just everywhere in my life. So very special welcome to my mentor, Neville. Thank you for taking the time.
Appreciate you having me, man.
Very excited to have you here, man. First of all, thank you for welcoming us into your beautiful home. This is going to be a really special weekend. I've known you over the internet for a couple months now, or since almost a year
12
now.
months almost.
That's crazy. And finally got to meet you this weekend, and I just want to start off by saying I would not be anywhere where I am today without your help and guidance, and seeing it come to fruition here, it's really special for me, man. So I want to ask you, how do you feel about this week? And you've put together a great event so far.
Well, first of all, thank you for having me on. I think, saying you wouldn't be here without me is a discredit to yourself. So, maybe I've given you different perspectives, but you've really earned everything that you have. So don't try and take the credit away from yourself and put it on me, bro. Like, you've earned it.
Yeah.
So in terms of the weekend, it's been insane. Having 15, 20 strangers, from the internet that I've never talked to before in person in my entire life, trust me enough to come and, I literally sleep right there. Literally we can see my bed from here. So it's, dude, it's insane. I'm learning so much. And it just makes me want to do these more and more and more just because of the power of, really the connection and relationships that you could build.
Yeah. It's really crazy to me because obviously this weekend I presented yesterday, and it's coming up on my 1 year of just starting my business ventures. Obviously, this is not your first business, but it's also your 1 year of this venture. Looking back at it, did you envision this exact moment right here, right now, and how have the past 12 months been for you?
Yeah, no, I didn't imagine being here 12 months ago. 12 months ago, I had a crazy idea that I could help people make money online through sports somehow, some way. I didn't know exactly what it looked like, but I knew that I knew what I was doing. And I knew that I was really good at it. And, 12 months ago, it was all I could think about was I want to make sure that I can just support myself every single month.
Yeah.
Because I had a bunch of athletes that, I stopped training and gave myself no other option but to succeed.
100%. And it's easy to, just say, oh, it's been 12 months of hard work and that's how you're here today. But that's not the reality at all, especially knowing your journey and everything that you overcame. This morning when I was prepping for the podcast today, it really hit me that, and as corny as it may sound, but you're the exact person that I started this podcast for, right? The podcast theme is, sharing the journeys of current and future superstars, the adversity they overcame to get to where they are today, and how they're going to build to where they want to be tomorrow. And I think you exemplify that beautifully. What are some of the biggest lessons that you feel like have gotten you to where you are today?
Yeah. 2 words, my fault. I think, and I shared this yesterday, how I spent a lot of my life, pointing the finger, and that nothing was ever my fault. It was always my coach's fault or my parents' fault or, my partner's fault or whatever. And when I started trying to embody the mindset of my fault, no matter what, taking more of my share of the blame and less than my share of the credit, I think my life really started to turn around. I think I used to want all the credit, mostly because I just had holes in my heart that I needed filled, that I felt like I needed validation from the world. So I couldn't handle blame, and I lived off of the validation of others.
Yeah.
And so when I started looking internally and telling myself, like, everything in your life is your fault, good or bad, it's actually so empowering, because then I realize that all the good things that have happened in my life were a direct result. Like, it's not like I lived a shitty life, you know what I mean? Like, I played at Notre Dame, I played at South Carolina, I played at San Jack, like, I did all this stuff, right? But I think as soon as I decided that I was going to take power over my own life is when I think the rest of the world opened up to where I could learn these other lessons that have served me.
Yeah, and that's something that, I kid you not, I have it written right here, just everything is my fault. And that's something that you actually taught me. And the minute that, you know, I started looking at life that way, is just, that gives you control. At the end of the day, everything is your fault, whether good or bad. It's because of you creating it, whether your habits, your decisions. And when you look at life that way, that allows you to, you know, stack up the small wins every single day. And, you know, look back 12 months later, it allows you to get to places like this. Now, in a year of this business that you have now, you've impacted the lives of, you know, people all around the world from different demographics. Like, how full circle is that, knowing that you're a guy that took a leap of faith without any certainty or guarantees if this business was going to work? You just went all in on it. How cool is it seeing that, you know, you have people here that went all in, that gave you that trust, and you've changed their lives quite literally?
Yeah, I think I'm a big, like, internet marketer, right? I'm big into, like, the internet marketing space, and it's amazing to be able to take a lot of the principles that are working in 2024 and so many other businesses and apply them to people that would never have otherwise had access to that information, whether they're priced out of that market, right? Or they don't have the time to put in the necessary work to acquire those skills, or acquire the information on their own, or fail enough to know what not to do, which is honestly more important. So I think it's awesome, because, like I said, I knew that I was good at what I did, and I knew that I was going to figure out a way to make this work in some way, shape, or form, whether it was becoming an agency or, you know, partnering up with somebody specific and taking a share of the revenue or something like that. I knew that it was going to work, but I didn't know what, because I didn't have any context. And so now to see over time the different people we've worked with from different walks of life, and just how many people we're impacting, more so than just coaches.
Yeah.
You know, like, we're helping athletes. We're helping athletes all over the world who maybe don't have access to quality training information directly, or they see somebody on social media that they really look up to, and they're like, I want to work with that guy, but, you know, I live in Los Angeles and my favorite person on social media lives in Miami. I can't work with him. Well, with the power of online training, you can.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah, I think, honestly, every coach out there, you know, obviously there's people that are old school and they know that training guys in person works, right? But I think it's almost selfish to not find ways to make more impact, because you're limited to 24 hours a day, right, on how many guys you can take in one lesson or throughout the day. But with the power of online, you know, you can make impact anywhere around the world. For me, that's surreal, because a few months back, I had a kid from Hawaii that wanted to stay, you know, locally, go to school in Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii, and through the power of marketing, we're able to get him to one of his dream school, and that's really surreal. Question for you now. Obviously, I know that a lot of the people that you come across, you know, may have limiting beliefs, and looking at this and internet marketing, it's easy to be like, well, that's fake, that's not true. Well, I can stand here today and say this is not a green screen in the back. He worked for this, and it's real. So what are some limiting beliefs that you see in people, and why do you feel like people hold themselves back?
Yeah, I would say I'll answer the questions in reverse. Why do I think people hold themselves back is lack of awareness. I think So when people have a limiting belief, or they, like, let's say, project how they feel about, let's use a tangible example of online training doesn't work, right? Or I can't get results with online training. Well, that is not true, because there are plenty of people out there currently doing it right now that are changing the lives of athletes everywhere. So that can't be a fact, right? So is it that you can't get results training athletes online, or is it that you don't know how, right? But they feel this sense of, it kind of attacks everything they've done their entire life. And so they feel threatened because it's different, it's uncomfortable. That's how humans have been able to survive, is when they feel threats, they do what? They fight or they flight, right? So it's a natural human response. However, I think the world has changed so much in such a short amount of time, and people maybe recognize like our physical limitations, like we have stairs because we can't fly, right? Yeah. But we don't recognize often our mental limitations, and we put ourselves in these boxes and think, this is the way my life has always been, and so therefore this is the way that the world is, and based on my experiences, this is what I see about the world. And they don't listen to anything else, because in order to change your mindset, you have to accept that at some point you were wrong. And I think a lot of people's ego can't handle that, because they're not secure enough with themselves to be able to look in the mirror and say, I was wrong. And so what do? It's way easier to point the finger and go, you're wrong. I've been doing it this way for X amount of time. Like, why would you change the way that things are? It's like, well, we used to walk everywhere, and then we made cars, and people were like, those are death machines. And then we made planes, and people were like, we're never going to get in airplanes. That's crazy. The government's trying to do this, that, and the third. And now you look on Scottsdale, and there's self-driving cars. And there are people that are like, I'll never get in a self-driving car. It's like, well, then on the road in 10 years, like, you should probably never get on the road, because they're all going to be self-driving.
Yeah, that's a really cool point of seeing it. And it's true, because people, sometimes our egos get in the way, and we think that, we know it all, or, there's only one way to do things, where that's such a big limiting belief. Now, obviously, we know that through your playing career, and before you realized that everything was your fault, you had a lot of limiting beliefs in yourself. And it's obviously, easy to just point the finger. After you realize that everything was your fault, what other actionable steps would you be able to give to somebody that is trying to overcome that?
Definitely. So, just like we talked about yesterday, like, you need to start with the end in mind, right? Once you realize that you have complete control over your life and the outcomes that, you get, then you need to start thinking, okay, if I can control everything and I can get specific outcomes based on a certain set of actions, if I just continue to do the work, right? Obviously, we can't control everything. Like, a boulder could literally fly out of the sky and crush us right now. I don't know. Like, something crazy could happen, right? But I think that the belief that I can control my life, I am the captain of my soul, will allow you to then take control over your life and look to see, what do I want to create? It's very powerful. And so I think from there, it's understanding what type of life you really want, and more importantly, understanding what you don't want. Because like we talked about yesterday, a lot of people say they're willing to do whatever it takes to achieve their goals, right? But then I say, okay, like, you're willing to do whatever it takes, and like, let's say their goal is financial, like, well, you have to sacrifice your firstborn son in order to hit that goal. They'd be like, whoa, I would never do that. That's different. It's like, no, because you said whatever it takes. And words are powerful. Yeah. So I would say that getting very, very clear on what you want and what you're not willing to do to get there. And then the path becomes very clear of how you can create that life. because then you just have to take those action steps and be consistent with it every single day. And then if what you want changes, then you need to change your actions.
Yeah, that's, wow, I couldn't have put it in better words myself. And it's so true. Once you actually are fortunate enough to be in a room of men and women that believe in that and took those actionable steps, and people in this room from all walks of life that have all came here with the same goal in mind, right? Different walks of life, but with that same goal in mind, it's all almost like the same framework, right? It doesn't matter what you want to do in life, follow that framework, and as long as you do it for long enough, you'll make a lot of progress.
Exactly.
Now, let me ask you this. Obviously, you're in the online coaching business, but who exactly do you help, and why should people come to you?
I help sports coaches achieve time and financial freedom by leveraging social media and online training. So what does that mean in human speak? We teach sports coaches how to create, market, sell, and deliver online training programs. We do a lot of hybrid work too with coaches that have like in-person athletes. We show them how to create an online program for their in-person clients. So now they can deliver more value, and even as they get more comfortable with it, they can see their clients less often, which allows them to increase the amount of people that they can help. So that's kind of that's what we do.
Where can the people find you?
Yeah, you can find me on Instagram at @TheRealNickNeville. Also on my YouTube, I have like 400 subscribers. It's literally just me in front of a whiteboard giving away all the information for free. Just look up Nick Neville, can't miss me.
I guarantee you that if you feel like wherever path of life you are right now and you want to do something a little bit better and you don't know where to go on his YouTube channel, consume all the free content. There's a lot of stuff that we didn't even go over today, but you can go in there and find a ton of value. I think that what you're doing is life-changing. It changed my life, and I hope to continue to see you grow and change others' lives. So the past 12 months, you made a ton of progress. In your vision board, what do the next 12 months look like?
Definitely. So my last vision board was all about how does Nick get rich? How does Nick have a good life? And it was very selfish, which I don't think there's anything wrong with being selfish. Like you need to put your oxygen mask on before you can help others, right? And as a man, I think, you want to take pride in being able to provide for a family if that's what you want one day. And so now that I've kind of got a good thing going on.
Great thing.
Yeah.
Great thing.
I got a good thing going on, so I'm thinking, okay, how can I help take people with me? How can I make my vision so big that it makes super ambitious, highly motivated, A player, superstar level talent? How do I make my vision so big that people want to follow me, that they want to follow my lead, and that they trust that I can take them to where they want to get? And so one of my goals is actually I want to fly my team private.
That's sick.
Yeah.
That's sick, and I believe it. That's definitely achievable. Maybe to the next mastermind, which you put together an amazing event. I can't wait. I know this is the first one. I'm glad I'm here. I can't wait to continue to see the growth and the impact that you're going to continue making on lives. One last question for me. If there was one viewer out there watching this that wanted to get the most value out of it, what one message would you give to them?
I think doing what you say you're going to do, making promises to yourself, and keeping promises to yourself. I struggled a lot with confidence in my life, but if we look at what confidence really means, like think about math. The confidence of, a certain event happening, like a statistical confidence of it happening, is like the certainty or the likelihood that something will occur, right? So if we try and operationalize the definition of confidence as an emotion, then we can think, how certain are we in ourselves? And if you continue to say that you're going to do things, I'm going to get up early, and then you don't. I'm going to brush my teeth, and then you don't. I'm going to go to the gym, and then you don't. I'm going to approach that girl, and then you don't. Over time, when you say these things to yourself or out loud to other people, you will lose confidence in yourself because it doesn't mean anything when you say you're going to do something, right? And so when you hold yourself accountable to what you say, you start paying a lot closer attention to what you're willing to put out in the world, and your words start to mean a lot more. And it'll be a lot easier to fulfill on the promises that you make because you know that your word is everything. Yeah. And that's all we have. So make promises to yourself, keep promises to yourself. Start with the small ones and then continue to stack them on top of that. That's it.
If you don't believe in yourself and if you don't believe in your word, how could you expect other people to?
Exactly.
So we have a closing tradition on this podcast where the previous guest leaves a question for the next one. And today we have a question for you from one of your clients, Jansen Whitty. And he wanted to ask you, if you could go back in time, when and where would you go?
I don't know if I would. But if you want me to answer the question, I will.
That's fine. It's a fair answer.
I don't know if I would. The reason why I don't know if I would is because, I could easily say like, oh yeah, go back when I'm 15 and tell 15-year-old me to study internet marketing, figure out AI, learn how to code, all these super high leverage skills, right? But then I wouldn't be who I am today. And I love who I am today. So why the fuck would I want to change that?
I fucking love you. You're the man. I can't wait to run this back and really take a deep dive into your journey next time that you're in Miami. We'd love to host you out there and really break down everything that you're about, because there's so much more value in there that I want to put out to the world that it would be selfish of me to not ask you to come on again and share your journey and share everything that you stand for, because it's really easy to be motivated by everything you've become, and your journey speaks for itself. There's a lot of people out there that, say they came from nothing or came from, adversity and all this different stuff, and you're a testament of when you know that everything is your fault and you take control of your life. Pretty incredible what you can accomplish. I can't wait to continue to see your growth, and I love you. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. I just want to say, bro, you've earned everything that you have, and obviously we talk and I tell you that you need to get better at this and you need to get better at that. But like, dude, when I was 23, all I cared about was like, how many hits did I get last night? How many DMs am I sending to girls? And how many beers can I drink tonight? That's really all I cared about. And like, you actually, like, you got a couple businesses, but you're actually like doing something with your life and pushing yourself forward. Like, bro, I didn't start this game until I was already 25, So I think as much as I get on you, I know it's because you can take it, and I see a higher level of yourself than you see in yourself right now. So I want to hold you to the standard that I know that you're capable of, and eventually one day you will hold that standard.
That's everything I can ask for.
Appreciate you, brother.